What's up, guys? You read the title, you know what this video is about. I'm going to show you kind of 4 categories broken into maybe 10 lifts that are all very important movements you need to be good at in arm wrestling and how to train each and every single one of them. We're going to start with elbow flexion. Now, elbow flexion is a very important thing in arm wrestling, and I kind of attribute it to 2 main moves. Now, there's plenty of overlap between categories, but elbow flexion I have broken up into 2 main moves. Now, the first one everybody's probably thinking of is back pressure. The back pressure lift is very simple. Put the hand through the loop, set it down, and you're good to go. Back pressure is done just straight. Mess around with the rep range, do anything you want. It doesn't really matter, but just kind of a straight pull. Make sure you're nice and standing up tall. You're not like crouched down or doing anything weird. Just nice and easy. Back pressure, make sure you feel it through the brachioradialis and the bicep. Now, moving on, we've got probably one of my favorites, the pronation. Very similar to back pressure, put the thumb through the rope, make it run along the back of the hand like so, and that's it. Very similar to back pressure, but this one is more outside top roll style, where back pressure is more kind of helpful everywhere. This one is very specific to cracking the guy's hand back. Again, you can just really feel it through the bicep, brachioradialis, and of course, this time, the pronator. Next, we have the regripping chain. So this also has a lot to do with back pressure. It's not exactly like this is one category, this is the other. They transfer into each other very well. So the next one we have is rise. The rise wrap, open up the loop, put your hand through the loop, close it, bring it back, grab along, and you want the band to run right along the top of your knuckle, just like that. You want to make it run like this, not over the side, right over the front. That's it. Rise is very important for taking the high spot, making them hold on to you, which in arm wrestling, especially as an outside puller, is almost everything there is in the game. Now this one, you'll be doing it right if you feel it in the bicep, the brachioradialis, and kind of through the hand, you'll be getting tired there. Mostly, your brachioradialis will be burning like crazy. This one, if you are anybody who likes to pull outside, you need to get very good, or it's not going to be as effective. Now the next one we've got is supination, but a kind of outside supination. The outside supination wrap, think of it as the opposite of pronation. So thumb through, make it run along the inside of the hand, give it one wrap around the hand through the middle, and then you're gonna grab just like so. And then bring it back and you're done. This one is a bit more unorthodox, but I'm kicking the hand back, actively climbing. It's not straight, it's not something like this where I'm going in, I'll get to that later, but one where I'm going actively out, passing out the shoulder. This is more of a kind of outside top roller style, but doing this will make you incredibly strong. Now you're going to feel this through the bicep and through the brachioradialis, as has kind of every other lift so far on this list. But doing that, you're going to want to go light because it's a very hard lift. And if you're doing it kind of sloppily form, it'll look a little bit something like this, where you're kind of just, you're not really pronating, you're not really supinating it out, you're kind of just back pressuring it and locking. That's not what you want. You really want the motion through. That's going to give you an awesome pump. Now we move on to wrist flexion. Wrist flexion is debatably the most important part of arm wrestling. You can make a case for anything else, but this one is that last little piece, the tip of the spear. It's being able to maintain your hand through cupping, through gripping. I'll get to all of this. The first exercise I'm showing is grip. Get a nice deep grip on your 1-inch handle and drag it in and you're good to go. Now, the way I like to train grip is I like to use the 1-inch handle and just really, really squeeze on it. I really give it a good squeeze, especially at the end, because it's not like you're ever arm wrestling with your hand open all the way like this. It's mostly closed. So I really feel to close my hand at the end, and you're going to feel that through the front of the forearm right here. This part's going to blow up like crazy. You can actively see your tendons moving when you're doing this, which I quite like. You can also add a little bit of cupping into it, like a little bit of wrist flexion, but mostly just grip, open, close, open, close. There's a million ways to train grip, guys. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it any way you desire. But for me, my personal favorite way is training it with the 1-inch handle. And they're everywhere. They're at every gym in the world. So there's ways to do it with no problem. Next up, we have the high cup multi, or just the high cup in general. These multi-spinner wraps are the most complicated, so pay attention. I'm going to put my hand with the thumb on the same side, just above where the rope is inserted. I give it one wrap around the hand, just like kind of how the strap runs. Wrap around the middle. And then, if you're going high, you wrap it around the top, just like so, just like that. You can see my hand is slightly below where the rope is, and there's still some room right at the top. And that's it. It'll feel unstable, but that's when you know you're doing it right. In my opinion, the multi-spinner for training high cup is the best tool there is out there. There's other ones, but if you can either get a multi-spinner, you can get them an arm bet, you can get them anywhere, or you can build your own very easily with a PVC pipe and just an old strap. I would say this is the best way to train high cup without a question. It's really targeting these top two fingers, making them actively try to bend back. And this is going to be awesome for any of you high posting top rollers or just guys that really want to shut down your opponent's pronation. This one is going to give you a crazy pump all the way through kind of the back here, the front here. It's going to be a really good pump for the top two fingers. This is a move that's often used when you're up at the top, you've got the top spot, and then you come crashing down over in a top roll normally, but having more doesn't hurt at all for a guy who's pulling inside. Now, next up, we have the inverse of that, the low cup multi. For the low cup, same start as the high cup. Grab low, make it on the bottom. Make sure you wrap, but instead of going to the top this time, you go along the bottom. And same thing as before, make sure the hand is above the rope right here, and make sure you still got some room running along the bottom. Again, it'll feel very unstable, but that's the whole point. Now, just like the last one, I would say try to get a multi-spinner, because training low cup on anything else, while it is doable, multi-spinner is the best tool that there is out there. You can build one. I'm sure there's videos out there of how to build one. It's just a PVC pipe and put a strap through it. And I'm telling you guys, if you don't have one, try to get one, because this is the best way to train low cup. You're really, really going to feel it on the bottom two fingers here. And it is going to be all the way along here, blowing up and burning like crazy. Now, this training, this low cup, is mostly used for inside pullers or guys trying to deny maybe like a low hand or kind of top roll in general. It's getting somebody turned over like crazy. It's almost coming into a press sometimes. You can kind of use these bottom two fingers to cut into the guy and get him turned over hard. It's mostly an inside move, but if you've ever got a guy's hand and you add that, it's just good. Finally, in the wrist flexion segment, I would say a standard rolling handle. For the spinning handle, it's very simple. Make sure the thumb is on the same side. You can tuck it in if you'd like, and hold on and go for your cup. It could be 2 inches, 3 inches, doesn't really matter. I would say kind of in the middle is nice, because you've already trained stuff like multi-spinner that's attacking more out into the kind of ends of fingers and really spinning out. This is more of wrist flexion, pure wrist flexion. This one, it's not really spinning out your hand too much, but it's definitely there. You feel it a little bit. The failure point is not that, though. The failure point would be the pumping of the forearm along here. This is going to make your forearm massive, and it's a bit more of a kind of traditional strength base. It's not as fringe as multi-spinner, but it's still going to get the job done, and it's going to add to anybody who's wanting to bend their wrist, either if they're a high hook, a low hook, any guy who's coming in, any guy who's top rolling, adding some hook at the end. Always just helpful to bend your wrist a little bit. So this exercise right here, very nice. Next, we're moving on to the kind of inside portion, much more inside elbow stability press stuff. First up on the inside portion, we have the press. For the press wrap, it's the exact same as the supination wrap. So thumb on the inside, give it one loop around, and instead of coming this way, you're gonna turn and put the shoulder into it, just like that. Now the press is a very, very strong move. It's not always the best opener, as it can be quite risky, especially for newer people, but it's a great way to finish guys. So sometimes you'll be in a match and you'll kind of blow a guy off center. You won't quite be able to finish. If you can transfer that press and bring it down hard, it's a very strong, mechanically sound position. Now pressing, it's mostly a finisher, but again, if you're maybe crazy enough, you could try to do it off the beginning and get that shoulder in, and you're gonna rip right through a guy. Now the next one, I would be hesitant to train, but it's gonna help in general. Next up, we have side pressure. Just like the press and supination wrap, the side pressure wrap is the exact same as well. Loop around, just don't commit the shoulder as much, and that's it. While this movement, side pressure, is undoubtedly important in arm wrestling, training it specifically on the table is sometimes questionable, especially for a guy like me. Now, I do a lot of table time, and I would encourage everybody to do lots of table time, because plenty of this stuff won't exactly work unless you know how to apply the strengths. I would say the risk of getting hurt on a side pressure lift like this is quite high. You're gonna do damage to your elbow, especially if you're going heavy. I would never do a single, never even think about doing a single. But lighter work can sometimes be good. On the table, you're going to develop side pressure. You're gonna get that elbow stability that you would get through training this in the kind of, I would say, safer environment. I would generally tell everybody new, stay away from this. If you're intermediate, you can maybe do some, and if you're a pro, you don't need this video anyway, so don't listen to what I'm saying. Now, there's plenty of other smaller accessory work stuff you could do, like you could do some sort of kickback stuff. You could do some thumb work if you're getting really crazy, but all this stuff is gonna get ironed out on the table. If you're missing any small stuff, not the end of the world, because as long as you're doing adequate table time and you're putting in the work, the rest of those small gaps will get filled in. So thank you for watching, guys. Add these to your routine. Let me know what you think. You don't need to do the lifts exactly and the rep ranges, play with them. Do whatever you feel is right. It's not an exact science yet. Maybe one day it will be, But for now, just try what you like, change the lifts, change the rep ranges, try some singles, not in side pressure, but try some blood flow, try everything. Try everything you want with these kind of lifts, these kind of styles, and your arm wrestling game will improve, no question. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.